What is up, good people? Crypto Prepper here. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2026. And today we are going to do something way out of the wheelhouse from what I usually do. So I get this email from Kraken saying that they are going to start this HBAR Trading Challenge 2026. Okay. And so if you're on Kraken, you probably got the same email. And so it started today, March 2nd, and it goes until March 23rd. So that got me thinking about looking at setting up an HBAR bot. But rather than going the route of set and forget for like 365 days, I'm coming at this one with a mindset of um, trying to maximize gain and maximize my entries in this because I'm sorry, I keep switching back and forth to the black and the bright here. But to basically, they're giving away 2 million HBAR, and eligible users must trade a minimum of $100 notional value in the HBAR USD spot or margin market. Excuse me. So I'm going to switch back over to the black, and this got me thinking that um, I'll go ahead and set up a bot on HBAR with $1,000 on Kraken, and I'm going to take you through setting this up from scratch. So let's go over to our start bot here, and then we're going to go down to DCA bot, and then this has already been populated because I had it pulled up already. So you can see I've got Kraken as my exchange. My pairing is HBAR USD. That's what the little thing that they're doing right now entails. I think the only other pairing is a euro, so that's not accounted in this Kraken deal for the next 21 days. Okay, so, and then we'll start out with our bot with $1,000 like we always do. Go down to manual adjustment, bot settings. I'm not going to touch immediately here. We're going to change our base order amount to our 3125. Scroll down, go down to the averaging orders amount USD and put in 968.75. So these two numbers here and here equal 1,000. Okay, so we're going to stay with our averaging orders 5 like we always do. But this time we're going to be quite a bit more risky, and I'm going to change this averaging order step percent to 1.7. Okay. Usually we do 5, and that's protects you, further down the price in case we get a waterfall event or it just crashes like it kind of did on the 5th of February. So anyway, back to the averaging order step percent. I'm going to change that back to 1.7. Our amount multiplier here, like always, is x2. And then our step multiplier is off. We are going to click the position TP and SL, which is take profit and stop loss, to bring this up and change this to, I think I was running this at 5% take profit. So that is normal to what we typically do. And then I uh, always remember to go to your risk management tab here and turn off the pump dump protection. Most of the time, I want to say probably 90 to 95% of the time, taking that off is going to be better for you than not. It's been better than not taking it off and leaving it on like it defaults out at. Okay, sorry, I'm a little discombobulated because I this is kind of a spur of the moment thing, and I got that email and I was like, I'm feeling a little risque. Let's try something new. So I have not done this before, and I definitely don't recommend doing something like this unless you you get the bug. and do it with something that if you, and I don't want to say lose, but you could, yeah, HBAR could go to zero. But you're gonna, if I do this and um, it just falls straight down here and then just continues to fall down, I'm just gonna buy and hold it, right? I don't follow HBAR specifically, but a lot of people that I respect highly, they talk highly of HBAR. So I'm just going to leave it at that. You do your own research on that this type of thing, and of course, like always, I don't mention it all the time. This is not financial advice. You're not going to risk any money that is going to harm you. But anyway, all that stuff to be said. So when I did this a 30-day back test, and this the 30-day back test is something that you're going to be able to do even on the basic tier. So I run a back test on these settings. Um, and February was kind of a weird month, but look at that return. 26.53% return in the last 30 days if I were to use these settings. So I was staring at this and I'm like, oh my, that's pretty sweet. You know, you don't get that in a year anywhere else. Um, so I was looking at this back test and, you know, here February 4th and 5th or whatever, you know, it caught the initial pop of this, but then, you know, on February 4th and 5th or whenever it says the 5th here on both lines, but I think it started on the 4th. Maybe it didn't. No, this is like a 12-hour drive. Anyway, so you wouldn't have capitalized on any of that dip on any of that waterfall, and then the recovery bounced back even higher than it was before. So it caught all that, and then it's kind of had, you know, basically just a sideways and up like most of the market, I think, since then. So we see a lot of activity here. So what the other thing I did was I went down here and keeping in mind this specific reason is this HBAR challenge, trading challenge that they have on Kraken. And so I scroll all the way down here. It made 62 transactions in the last 30 days. So two transactions per day on average. And, you know, so right here, it had all the buys taken up. Well, all but one. So it had $500 uh, in this bot with $1,000. It had $500 worth in here because that last buy line is going to be that last 500 bucks. So then it popped up 5% and sold, made you 24.96. And then it invested again to about $250 and then sold, got you 12 bucks. And then here it was fully vested. It bought, it has $1,000 at this point, and then it sold at 5% and you made 50 bucks. 49.95, and then I think, yeah, this is after the fee is taken out. So they show you when you look at the back test here, you can see the fees that they charge. So, um, you know, each time you trade, I think back and forth, not just buy and sell. If they would have had this last month and I would have ran this bot, then it would have several entries, you know, per $100 or however they have it work. It's trading quite a bit. There's quite a bit of volume coming through here. And then when all is said and done, so here's another fully vested time. And I went from you got to keep in mind these dates are backwards from the standard American format, but February 7th to February 8th on this line, and then it sold maybe another 50 bucks. And then it was vested in 500 bucks here, sold, you made 25. And then it kind of got more frequent with the buy and sells here. Here's another fully vested time, $50.03. So, for some reason it was a little bit more than the others. And then did it again. So I'm looking at this and I said, oh my gosh, having $1,000 bot set up in February was kind of an interesting month, right? With this dip down and then a lot of activity. But to have, basically what I'm looking at here with these buy lines, you see it says four active orders. So that's these four buy lines here. So this bot has sold here and then it purchased it right away, like it always does, and then it purchased again. So right now it has about $60 invested in HBAR and it's worth maybe 56. I don't know. It's hard for me to do that kind of math. But then basically it has a, a $500 buy order here, $250 buy order here, 125, 60. So what's that? 758, 75, 9 something. So you basically still have over $900 in $940 uh, that your bot is still ready to invest at this point. And then you have $265 in your USD wallet on Kraken over the time period of a month. And so I'm trying not to get too excited about this, but I was like, because a 30-day back test is not really that great. And that's why that's the only part of the basic plan that kind of sucks. But, um, what I want to do is I want to help you show you these 365-day back tests because that's typically what we're wanting to set stuff up with. Um, but if you do have, you feel a little, you know, feel lucky, you feel lucky punk, then you might be tempted to play around with something like this. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to set this up and I have it already pulled up on another tab too with these same settings. But I want to show you before we do this, I want to show you what would have happened if you were to set up a bot with these settings on February 2nd and had it run until March 2nd. Okay, so you can kind of see what it's looking like on here. It's basically an and down. But to do that, we'll close out of here. I'll open up this little calendar tab down here. And then let's see if maybe I misspoke. We're actually running it from January 2nd. I think I said February 2nd. To February 2nd. So that's a 30-day back test, right? It's 32. So let's fix that a little bit. Okay, so a 30-day back test, if you were to start this on January 2nd, 3rd-ish, that type of timeline. Oh, January 4th to February 2nd, because January has 31 days in it. Okay, so you can see for that 30-day timeline, a 0.43% return. So, and then at this point too, if you still had this bot running, it's not going to take any profit until it gets up to 12 cents. That's right, 0.12 cent, $0.12, right? 12 cents. So that's where the risk comes in. So I'm surprised why didn't it take profit here? Huh. It should have taken a profit here. Maybe that wasn't 5% more than, maybe it just missed it. It probably just missed it by a hair. Let's see. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this like thought process and this more rambly type, and maybe it's not more rambly. So it would have been uh, fully vested at this point, and your DCA should be right about here. So then your take profit is 5% more than that. Oh, 4%. Okay. So let's play around with this while we're on this tab here. So let's see if I took that to 4%. I guess it didn't take profit there. No, I just missed it there. Maybe it's 3.9. It's crazy how much even just a tenth of a percent, whether it's on the take profit side or on the averaging orders percent, can make. Okay, it wasn't 3.9% there because that was the same return. Look at that. So just having that take profit uh pop down from 5 or 4 was basically the same, down to like 3.7 or whatever I just put it at, over that month that you made 0.43%. This it bumped it up to 13%. So that's where the risk comes in. And let's look at those numbers for the last 30 days here. So if I were to have that bot set up on January 31st or February 1st, and let's see, because before it was, what did we say, 26. So even with those settings, uh, it's still 21% versus 26, but still that's just crazy to think about. And even on a month where it went basically, um, let's see, it popped up a little bit and then it's been nothing but downfalling for that for the remainder of that time. It was able to capitalize on these little pops and then make you a pretty good percent. But um, like I said, this is not something, these are not settings that I would typically recommend for long term because I want to just show you here a 365-day back test on this, and 27. So that's where the risk comes in, um, oh, and it only goes back, I forgot to mention, it only goes back to July 10th. So really it's not a 365-day back test, but still it would have, you wouldn't, if you had this bot set up and you set it up on the July 11th, it would have made you 27% in that first month. But then once it falls down, it didn't pop up uh, enough to take any profit. And even from July 23rd, you were fully vested, and then you had to, watch it dip even further, excuse me, until July 20th. That's not a long time. So these are not long-term settings, but if you had a month in mind and wanted to emulate these settings and run a 30-day back test, that's something you could easily do on that basic platform or the basic tier of this platform. So like with all my videos, I'm going to leave my referral link in the description. So if you are interested in setting this up and playing with it, um, just having a bot set up like this and running it for the month almost pays for your entire year in 30 days. So um, pretty crazy. So hmm, pretty crazy. All right, sorry for the radio silence. So I think I am going to um, You know what? This is my live site account anyway. So I think while I have this pulled up with these settings that would have given me 21% return over the last 30 days. Right? Or if I wanted to bump that up back up to the where I was showing 25. So we still had this time we were fully vested there. Investment there, 500 bucks or about 250, whatever it was. 500 there, 1,000 there. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. So you can see how um, when I put in that $1,000 investment, I know I don't usually talk about this little slider wheel, it tells you how much, what percentage of your total USD that you have on whatever exchange you have pulled up, what percentage of USD you're going to use. So then say you didn't want to just start this out with 1,000 and you wanted to actually take it up to the max of what you could, which I don't recommend because you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. But you could do like this, and you could just slide that back and forth to come up with a number that you were comfortable with. And maybe I'm a little bit of a OCD. So say I just wanted to make it an even 1,250 bucks instead of that 1,350. Let's see what that 21% would have given me that time. 273. So $273 on top of being entered into this this HBAR thing that Kraken is running. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. We're going to continue. Now here you can check all your settings. When I bumped it up a little bit, it changed the base order and the averaging orders. But if you left it at that 1,000, you could double check, and you're going to want to double check to make sure. My 5 order quantity, 1.7 x2, everything is good to go. And you just start that bot, and then you can watch it set up its orders. So it should buy here shortly. Yep. So I bought $31, 32, whatever, $39 in this case worth of HBAR, and it set my take profit at 10.3. All right, so let's let that run for 30 days and or 21 days at least, and see what it looks like at the end, and I'll keep you guys updated. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, this is a little different than what we usually do, but anyway, if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these videos, give me subscribe to the channel, and then also leave me your favorite coin in the comments, and I'll run some back tests for you. All right, thanks. Have a good one. See you next time.